Welcome back to another explainer. So today, I want to take you on a little trip back to 2012. Just picture this for a second. Sergey Brin gets up on stage at the Moscone Center. The crowd is absolutely buzzing, and then out of nowhere, skydivers wearing the brand new Google Glass land right on the roof of the building. I mean, it was wild, it was completely over the top, and it was undeniably the most hyped tech launch of the entire decade. We were promised a future right then and there. But, as we all know, that future didn't exactly stick around for us everyday consumers.
Seriously, just look at the incredibly short window of time between these two events. In 2012, we hit peak hype with that skydiving stunt. And then, blink and you miss it, just 3 years later in 2015, the whole Consumer Explorer program was just shut down, completely shelved. The contrast is pretty staggering, right? So how does the biggest technological marvel of the decade suffer such a massive, sudden consumer death? Well, that incredibly rapid rise and fall is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Think of today's explainer as an innovation autopsy of a massive failure. We're going to extract 3 vital lessons for any new tech. First, the privacy paradox. Second, the killer app. Third, the right audience. And finally, we'll look at the big overarching rule. Innovation needs social readiness.
All right, let's dive straight into Lesson 1, the privacy paradox.
Now, Google literally had some of the smartest engineers in the world working on this, and they brilliantly solved the insane technical problems of wearable augmented reality, getting a tiny computer to fit right on the bridge of your nose. But they completely ignored the very human, very social problem of slapping a hidden, forward-facing camera right onto someone's face. Society collectively reacted by inventing this culturally surprising, kind of hilarious term, the glass hole. And it was a very real social stigma attached to early users. It turns out human nature and our deep-rooted privacy paradox actively rejected this thing. People didn't just hate the aesthetic, they were fundamentally uncomfortable trying to have a normal conversation with someone who might be silently recording their every move.
And because of that stigma, the real-world consequences hit fast. We saw preemptive bans popping up at local dive bars, movie theaters, casinos, you name it. Think about that for a second. This was highly anticipated, futuristic tech from one of the most powerful companies on Earth, and it was being banned from everyday locations before it even reached the mass market. Before normal consumers could even buy it, society was already putting up walls to keep it out.
Which brings us right to Lesson 2, the killer app.
If you're going to introduce a product that makes society that uncomfortable, we have to ask a fundamental question. What was this thing actually built to do? The price tag was $1,500. Let me ask you directly, how could you possibly justify dropping $1,500 on this, especially when it completely lacked a definitive killer app to offset all that intense social awkwardness we just talked about? If you're paying that much money to have people glare at you in a dive bar, that device better do something utterly magical.
But did it? Well, Glass let you take photos, and it showed you directions. But your standard smartphone did the exact same things. Glass was ultimately just a solution looking for a problem. It was mimicking the exact functions of the incredibly powerful phone that was already sitting in your pocket. A phone, by the way, that didn't make your friends nervous when you put it on the dinner table.
Okay, moving on to Lesson 3, the right audience. Here's a crazy plot twist for you. Google Glass wasn't actually a complete failure. It just needed to find its true market fit. While trying to sell this to the consumer market as a cool fashion statement was a total flop, the enterprise market was a completely different story. In factories, in warehouses, and in hospitals, Google Glass actually found a massive second life as a functional tool. Think about it. If you're a surgeon operating on a patient or a mechanic up to your elbows in a complex jet engine, having a heads-up display with hands-free data isn't some creepy fashion statement. It's literally a superpower. The device succeeded beautifully once it was finally aligned with an audience who actually needed that exact solution.
And that leads us to our big conclusion. Innovation needs social readiness. So we've looked at the privacy paradox, the lack of a killer app, and finding the right audience. And all of these 3 lessons point to one absolutely crucial takeaway. Innovation without social readiness is just an expensive prototype. You can spend billions in R&D, you could hire the smartest engineers on the planet, and you can build working, functional hardware. But if society just isn't ready for it, you don't have a product. You just have a very, very expensive prototype.
So, I want to end today's explainer by asking you to look at the tech landscape right now. What highly hyped tech today is making these exact same mistakes? Are there brand new AI wearables or mixed reality headsets hitting the market right now that are incredible feats of engineering but completely lack a killer app or social readiness? Take these 3 historical lessons and try applying them to the new innovations making headlines today. Keep that critical eye sharp. Thanks so much for exploring this with me, and I'll get you in the next explainer.